You won't mind covering this, will you? You know how tight money is for newlyweds. My sister Chelsea slid my credit card across the restaurant table toward herself. She'd taken it from my purse while I was in the bathroom. I stared at the black card in her perfectly manicured fingers. My card, my account, taken without permission. Chelsea, I need that back, I said quietly. She laughed. That tinkling, performative laugh she used when she wanted witnesses to think everything was fun and games. Oh, don't be so dramatic, Megan. I'm just borrowing it. You can afford it now, right? Big fancy job and everything. My parents sat across from us, watching. My mother smiled. My father looked at his phone. Neither said a word. Chelsea's fiancé, Brett, shifted uncomfortably beside her. But he didn't stop her either. I just need it for a few purchases, Chelsea continued. Wedding expenses are killing us, and you know how important this day is. You'll get it back. The waiter hovered nearby, uncertain. Other diners had started to notice the tension. I should have grabbed it, should have demanded it back, should have made a scene. But I'd spent my entire life avoiding scenes, avoiding conflict, being the easy daughter who didn't cause problems. So I sat there, frozen, as my sister slipped my credit card into her wallet. What Chelsea didn't know was that I'd been waiting for something exactly like this. She'd finally given me the excuse I needed. My name is Megan Charlotte Hayes, and I am 29 years old. I live in Portland, Oregon, where I work as a senior financial analyst for Cascade Investment Group. I've been part of the Hayes family my entire life, the younger sister to golden child Chelsea. For 29 years, I've watched my family worship my sister. Everything she wanted, she got. Everything I needed, I had to earn. I'd learned to make myself invisible, to expect nothing, to survive on scraps of attention. But that was about to change in ways none of them could imagine. Chelsea was everything my parents wanted in a daughter. 3 years older than me, stunningly beautiful, effortlessly charming, and completely incapable of managing her own life. But failures didn't matter when you were the favorite. They just became someone else's problem to solve. When I was 10, I placed third in a national math competition. I beat out kids from schools with 10 times our funding. I was so proud I could barely speak. I showed my parents the trophy. My mother said, "That's wonderful, honey," and set it on the counter. Then she turned to Chelsea and asked if she'd decided on a dress for homecoming. They spent the next 2 hours dress shopping. My trophy stayed on the counter for 3 days before I moved it to my room. When Chelsea was 17, she wrecked her first car. Totaled it completely. She'd been texting while driving, ran a red light, and crashed into a parked truck. My parents bought her a newer, better car the following week, a white BMW with leather seats. My father said accidents happen, and she shouldn't be punished for a mistake. When I was 17, I asked if I could borrow the family car to drive to a college visit. My mother said no. She didn't trust me with something that expensive. I took the bus, 4 hours each way. I got accepted to that college with a partial scholarship. My parents said community college made more financial sense. They didn't want to co-sign loans. Chelsea needed their financial support more, they explained. She was struggling. Chelsea went to private university on their dime. Full tuition, room and board, spending money. She partied her way through 4 years and graduated with a 2.3 GPA. I went to community college and worked 3 jobs. I transferred to state university after 2 years, paying every penny myself. I graduated summa cum laude with a 4.0 GPA. My parents came to Chelsea's graduation. Threw her a party, invited 70 people, had a cake made with her photo printed on it. When I graduated with highest honors, my mother texted, "Congrats, sweetie." My father didn't acknowledge it at all. Chelsea had been engaged 4 times before Brett. Each time, the engagement ended in drama. Each time, my parents funded the aftermath. Therapy bills, shopping trips to help her feel better, deposits she'd lost on venues. The bill always came to around $10,000 or $15,000 per breakup. They paid every time without question. When I asked my parents for $500 to help with an emergency root canal, my father said I needed to budget better. I was 26 years old and working full-time. Surely I could afford basic dental care. I paid for it on a high-interest credit card and ate ramen for 2 months. But the comment that broke something inside me came last Christmas. We were all at my parents' house. Chelsea was showing off her new engagement ring, her 5th engagement. My mother was crying happy tears. My father raised his glass and said, "To Chelsea, the daughter who makes us proud every single day, the one who reminds us what family means." He looked right at me when he said it. Then he looked away. I'd just been promoted to senior analyst. I'd beaten out 15 other candidates. My salary had jumped to $97,000 a year. I hadn't told them. Why bother? They'd find a way to make it about Chelsea anyway. I learned to bury everything, to celebrate my wins alone, to stop expecting anything from people who'd made it clear I didn't matter. The credit card incident happened at Chelsea's rehearsal dinner, the night before her wedding to Brett. She'd asked me to be a bridesmaid. Not because she wanted me there, but because it would look bad if her only sister wasn't in the wedding party. I'd bought the dress she'd chosen, paid for my own hair and makeup, arranged my own transportation. Standard procedure. The rehearsal dinner was at an upscale Italian restaurant downtown. 60 guests, open bar, multi-course meal. Chelsea had been drinking champagne since 3 in the afternoon. By dinner, she was tipsy and reckless. That's when she'd grabbed my credit card from my purse. Just for a few purchases, she'd said. Wedding expenses. But I knew Chelsea. A few purchases meant whatever she wanted until someone stopped her. I watched her slip my card into her wallet. Watched my parents do nothing. Watched Brett look uncomfortable but stay silent. When will you give it back? I asked. After the honeymoon, Chelsea said breezily. We leave for Bali tomorrow night. I'll return it when we get back. 2 weeks. She wanted my credit card for 2 weeks. No, I said. The table went quiet. What? Chelsea blinked at me like I'd spoken another language. I said no. Give me my card back now. My mother's face tightened. Megan, don't make a scene. I'm not making a scene. I'm asking for my property back. Chelsea's eyes narrowed. I already told you. I'll give it back after Bali. Don't be so selfish. Selfish, I repeated. The word tasted bitter. You took my credit card without permission and I'm selfish for wanting it back? My father set down his fork with deliberate precision. Your sister is getting married tomorrow. This is her special time. Can't you be supportive for once? For once. As if I'd ever been anything but supportive. Give me the card, Chelsea, I said. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she smiled that cruel smile she'd perfected over the years. Make me. The entire table watched. 60 witnesses to my humiliation. I stood up. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. Keep it, I said. Enjoy Bali. I walked out of that restaurant with everyone staring. Behind me, I heard Chelsea's triumphant laugh, heard my mother's disgusted sigh, heard the murmur of conversation starting up again. I got in my car, drove home, and made a phone call. What my family didn't know was that my career had taken off in ways I'd never shared with them. 6 months earlier, I'd been headhunted by Cascade Investment Group. They'd offered me a position as senior financial analyst with a specialty in fraud detection and asset protection. The salary was $135,000 a year. More than twice what I'd been making. I'd also been managing my own investment portfolio for 5 years. Starting with just $2,000, I'd grown it to over $400,000 through careful research and strategic risk-taking. I'd bought a condo in Northwest Portland. 2 bedrooms, city views, underground parking, worth $650,000. I hadn't told my family about any of it. Why would I? They'd either ignore it or find a way to make it Chelsea's achievement somehow. But my success meant I had resources, connections, knowledge, and I knew exactly how credit cards worked, especially my credit cards. I called my credit card company at 9 p.m. The wedding was tomorrow at 2. Chelsea and Brett's flight to Bali left tomorrow at 8 p.m. This is Megan Hayes. I need to report suspicious activity on my account. The representative was helpful and professional. Of course, Ms. Hayes, what kind of activity? My card was stolen this evening. I need it frozen immediately and a new card issued. I can absolutely help with that. Let me pull up your account. I gave her the details. She froze the card within minutes. Your new card will arrive in 5 to 7 business days, she said. Perfect. Thank you. But I wasn't done. I called my contact at Cascade Investment Group. Marcus Chen worked in security and risk management. We'd collaborated on 3 major projects. Marcus, I need a favor. Personal, not professional. What's going on? I explained the situation. The stolen card. Chelsea's planned spending spree in Bali. Here's what I want to know, I said. If someone tried to use that frozen card overseas, what would happen? Marcus was quiet for a moment. The charges would be declined. But if they tried multiple times, it would flag as potential fraud. Their passport could be flagged for financial investigation. What about their bank accounts? If there's suspected international fraud connected to their identity, banks can freeze accounts pending investigation. Standard security protocol. I smiled. How would one trigger such an investigation? Megan, Marcus said slowly. What are you planning? Hypothetically. He laughed. Hypothetically, if someone filed a fraud report claiming their card was stolen and used for international purchases, and if that person had detailed documentation of the theft, it would trigger automatic protocols. Documentation like witness statements? That would help. Thank you, Marcus. I spent the next 2 hours drafting a detailed fraud report. Included the name of the restaurant, the time of the theft, the number of witnesses, Brett's full name as an accessory. I filed it with my credit card company, my bank, and the Financial Fraud Division of the Federal Trade Commission. Then I went to bed and slept better than I had in months. I didn't go to Chelsea's wedding. I sent a text to my mother at 8 a.m. I won't be attending today. I'm done being treated like I don't matter. Don't contact me. My phone exploded immediately. 27 calls in an hour, 43 text messages. I turned it off and went for a run. Chelsea and Brett's honeymoon started badly and got worse. I heard this later from Brett's brother, who thought the whole thing was hilarious and had no loyalty to Chelsea. They landed in Bali at 11 p.m. local time after 20 hours of travel. Exhausted, jet-lagged, and ready for their luxury resort. The resort charged the card Chelsea had given them for the booking deposit. Declined. Chelsea tried my card. The one she'd stolen. Declined. She tried her own card. Also declined. Brett tried his card. Declined. Every single card they had was frozen. The resort manager was apologetic but firm. No payment, no room. It was midnight in Bali. They had no hotel. No cash. No access to their accounts. Chelsea tried calling her bank. The international hold time was 90 minutes. When she finally got through, the representative explained that her accounts had been frozen due to suspected fraudulent activity connected to her identity. What fraudulent activity? Chelsea shrieked into the phone. I can't provide specifics, ma'am. You'll need to visit a branch in person with proper identification to resolve this. I'm in Indonesia. I understand this is inconvenient. Brett's accounts were frozen too. Same reason, same solution required. They spent their first night in Bali sleeping in the airport. Chelsea cried for 4 hours straight. The next morning, Brett's brother wired them $500 for a budget hotel. They spent their honeymoon in a roach-infested room near the airport, eating instant noodles and trying to resolve their frozen accounts from halfway around the world. It took them 8 days to get their accounts unfrozen. They had to cut the honeymoon short. Fly home early, pay change fees they couldn't afford. They landed back in Portland exhausted, broke, and furious. And they knew exactly who was responsible. The voicemail started as soon as they landed. Chelsea's voice was raw from crying. You destroyed my honeymoon. My wedding. Everything. I will never forgive you for this. Brett's was colder. We know what you did, Megan. This isn't over. My mother's was trembling with rage. How could you do this to your own sister? On her honeymoon? What is wrong with you? My father's was short. You're no longer welcome in this family. I listened to every message. Felt nothing but relief. They'd finally said it out loud. I wasn't welcome. Wasn't family. Wasn't wanted. Fine. I didn't want them either. My grandmother called 3 days later. Patricia Hayes was 81 years old, sharper than most people half her age, and the only family member I actually respected. She'd built a successful career as a real estate developer, and had more money than the rest of the family combined. I heard what happened, she said without preamble. I'm sure you did. Chelsea is telling everyone you sabotaged her honeymoon out of jealousy. I reported a stolen credit card. What happened after that was consequences. Grandma Patricia laughed. Actually laughed. Good for you. I blinked. What? I said good for you. I've watched them treat you like garbage for 29 years. Watched your parents favor Chelsea no matter what she did. Watched you achieve incredible things with no support or recognition. My throat tightened. You noticed? Of course I noticed. I've always noticed. I just kept hoping they'd eventually see what I see. But they won't. They're too invested in Chelsea being perfect to acknowledge how badly they failed you. Why didn't you say anything? Because you needed to find your own strength. If I'd fought your battles, you'd never have learned to fight them yourself. But you're fighting now, and I'm proud of you. Those words hit me harder than any insult ever had. Proud of you. 3 words I'd never heard from my parents. Thank you, I whispered. I want you to come work for me, Grandma Patricia said. I'm expanding my property management division. I need someone I trust to run financial analysis and fraud prevention. The salary is $150,000 a year to start. plus benefits and profit sharing. I couldn't speak. You don't have to answer now, she continued. Think about it. But Megan, whatever you decide, know this. You don't need them. You never did. You're successful because of who you are, not despite what they put you through. The email came the next morning. Subject line? Promotion offer. Cascade Investment Group was offering me a promotion to lead financial analyst. Salary of $165,000 a year. Team of 6 reporting to me. Corner office. I was 29 years old, and being offered a position that typically went to people with 15 years of experience. I read the email 3 times. Then I accepted. When Chelsea got an assistant position at a marketing firm making $38,000 a year, my parents had thrown a celebration dinner. Invited 40 people, given speeches about her bright future. When I'd landed my first analyst job at $65,000, I'd mentioned it at Sunday dinner. My mother had said, "That's nice," and asked Chelsea about her weekend plans. Now I was making $165,000 a year, leading a team, respected in my field, and my family had no idea. I posted about the promotion on LinkedIn. Within hours, I had congratulations from colleagues, mentors, industry leaders, people I respected celebrating my achievement. My mother was connected to me on LinkedIn. She saw the post. I know she did. She never said a word. Chelsea showed up at my condo 2 weeks after returning from Bali. I don't know how she got my address. Probably from my mother. I opened the door to find her standing there, arms crossed, face tight with anger. "We need to talk," she said. "No, we don't. You ruined my honeymoon. You stole my credit card. I was going to give it back. That's still theft, Chelsea." She pushed past me into my apartment, uninvited, unwelcome. Her eyes swept the space, the floor-to-ceiling windows, the designer furniture, the view of downtown Portland. "How can you afford this?" she asked. "I have a job. Analysts don't make this kind of money. Lead analysts do." Her face went red. "You got promoted?" "Yes. When?" "None of your business. Mom didn't tell me." "Mom doesn't know. I stopped telling her things years ago. She never listened anyway." Chelsea's hands clenched into fists. "You think you're so much better than me now, because you have some fancy job and a nice apartment. I don't think I'm better than you, Chelsea. I just don't think I'm worse, which is all you've ever made me feel. That's not fair. You stole my credit card. You've mocked my achievements my entire life. You've watched Mom and Dad treat me like I don't matter. And you never said a word. Tell me what part of that is fair." She had no answer. "I want you to leave," I said quietly. "We're family," she said. "You can't just cut us off. Watch me. Mom and Dad are devastated. Then maybe they should have treated me like a daughter instead of an inconvenience." Chelsea's eyes filled with tears. The crocodile tears she'd used to manipulate our parents for decades. "Please, Megan, I'm sorry, really. I shouldn't have taken your card. I was stressed about the wedding and I made a mistake. Get out. If you don't forgive me, Mom says she'll never speak to you again." I walked to the door and opened it. Good. That saves me the trouble of blocking her number. Chelsea stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "You've changed." "No. I finally stopped pretending to be smaller than I am so you could feel bigger." She left, slammed the door hard enough to rattle the frame. I locked it behind her and felt lighter than I had in years. The consequences rolled out slowly over the next 6 months. Chelsea's marriage to Brett lasted exactly 4 months. He filed for divorce, citing financial irresponsibility and dishonesty. Turned out Chelsea had been hiding debt from him. Credit cards maxed out. Personal loans. Money borrowed from friends she never paid back. The frozen accounts in Bali had exposed everything. Brett had seen the full picture of her finances and decided he couldn't trust her. The divorce wasn't friendly. Brett's attorney was aggressive. Chelsea had to move back in with our parents. My parents' perfect golden child was 32 years old and living in her childhood bedroom. Again. This was the 3rd time. My mother called me crying. "You need to talk to Brett. Make him understand that Chelsea made mistakes, but she's trying." "No. Megan, please. She's your sister. She's your daughter. You fix it. You've been enabling her for 32 years. Maybe it's time she faced consequences. How can you be so cruel?" I hung up. My father sent an email, formal and cold. "Your behavior has been unacceptable. You will apologize to your sister and help resolve this situation, or you will no longer be considered part of this family." I replied with 2 words. "I'm out." Then I blocked all of them. Email, phone, social media. Every avenue they had to contact me. My life transformed in ways I'd never imagined. I moved to a better condo 6 months later. 3 bedrooms, rooftop access, floor-to-ceiling windows on 2 walls. The view stretched across the city to Mount Hood. I paid cash. $470,000 from my investment portfolio. Work became a place where I thrived. My team respected me. My bosses valued my input. I led projects that won industry recognition. I started dating, met someone through work. His name was Adrian. He was kind, thoughtful. And when I finally told him about my family, he didn't tell me to forgive them. He said, "That sounds incredibly painful. I'm sorry you went through that. You deserved better." That simple validation meant everything. I built friendships with people who celebrated my successes, who showed up when I needed them, who treated me like I mattered. I traveled, went to Japan for 3 weeks, just because I wanted to, stayed in nice hotels, ate at incredible restaurants, took cooking classes. I did all the things my family said I'd never be able to afford. All the things they said were for people like Chelsea, not people like me. And I did it without guilt, without their voices in my head telling me I was being too much, too ambitious, too proud. They tried to reach me through mutual connections. My Aunt Linda called. "Your mother is heartbroken. Don't you think a year is long enough to hold a grudge?" It's not a grudge. It's a boundary. My cousin Mark sent an email. "Family is family. You should forgive and move on." I didn't respond. An old family friend reached out on Facebook. "I heard there was a falling out. Your parents seem really sorry. Maybe you could give them another chance." I deleted the message. Finally, a letter arrived. My mother's handwriting on cream-colored stationery. "Dear Megan, I know things have been difficult between us. We weren't perfect parents. We made mistakes, but we love you and we miss you. Family is forever. Can we please talk? Your mother." I read it twice. There was no acknowledgement of what they'd actually done. No recognition of years of favoritism, dismissal, cruelty. Just vague language about mistakes and imperfection. It wasn't an apology. It was another attempt at control. I put the letter in a drawer and never responded. But 2 years after walking out of that rehearsal dinner, I finally understood something. It was never about me. Their favoritism, their dismissal, their cruelty. None of it was because I wasn't good enough or successful enough or lovable enough. It was because they were incapable of loving equitably. They'd chosen their favorite and everyone else was just supporting cast. I'd spent 29 years trying to earn something they were never going to give. Once I understood that, I stopped feeling guilty for leaving. I redefined what family meant. Family wasn't people who shared DNA or a last name. Family was the people who showed up, who celebrated your wins, who supported you through losses. Family was Adrian, who brought me coffee every morning and listened to my work stories. Family was my team, who had my back and pushed me to be better. Family was my grandmother Patricia, who'd seen me all along. Family was chosen, built through mutual respect and genuine care. Blood didn't make family. Behavior did. I won't pretend it didn't hurt sometimes. There were moments I missed the fantasy of a loving family, missed what I'd hoped we could be. But I never missed the reality. The constant comparison. The feeling of never being enough. The exhaustion of trying to earn love that should have been freely given. Freedom came with a cost. But it was a cost I was willing to pay. People ask if I got revenge. I don't think I did. Chelsea's life fell apart because of her own choices. My parents lost me because of their own behavior. I didn't destroy them. I just stopped letting them destroy me. My revenge, if you can call it that, was simpler. I built a life so full, so successful, so genuinely happy that they became irrelevant. I stopped needing their approval, stopped caring what they thought, stopped defining myself by their rejection. The best revenge wasn't making them suffer. It was building something so beautiful they could never touch it. I'm 31 years old now. I wake up in a home I own outright, go to a job where I'm respected, spend time with people who genuinely care about me. I look in the mirror and see someone strong, someone who survived, someone who chose herself when everyone else told her she was wrong to do so. The girl who just wanted to be loved is still in there somewhere, but she's not waiting anymore. She's not hoping for crumbs. She's not making herself small. She's free. Thank you for listening to this story on Revenge Posts Within. If this resonated with you, if you've ever had to choose yourself over people who refuse to see your worth, you know how much courage that takes. Hit the like button, share this with someone who needs to hear they're not alone, and subscribe to Revenge Posts Within for more stories about finding your voice, setting boundaries, and discovering that sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do.